Hello and welcome to your favorite paranormal podcast. I am your host, Kevin Leonard, and with me, Seth Converse. How you doing, Seth?
Doing great, buddy. How are you?
I'm good, can't complain. Um, so, oh, um, I did want to mention I did watch Fire in the Sky after our last episode. Me and Tracy watched it. I think the
Yeah.
night after the episode came out. Um, yeah, it was pretty good. I can see how, when it came out, it would be scary. I mean, the eye
Mm-hmm.
part, yeah, that I don't like stuff in the eye. Um,
Yeah, that part was weird.
yeah, I don't like stuff in the eye. But I just wanted to mention that or whatever because we kind of got a news story to touch on that, talks about the sky. And it just kind of crossed my mind. But before
Ooh.
we get into today's episode, I did want to mention for everyone out there listening, especially on our podcast version, there'll probably be a form of YouTube version as well. But uh, make sure you are subscribed to this channel. Make sure you are subscribed to our Spotify or find us on Pocket Cast, anywhere you listen to your podcast, any your favorite streaming platforms. Uh, Make sure you subscribe to Kappa Paranormal. We are working on a new project featuring the ladies of Kappa, and that will be coming out very soon. So I just want to put the buzz out there and let you guys go ahead and make your preparations. Make sure you subscribe, follow, all that good stuff, and that will be ready very soon. So that being said, in the coming episodes, I'll continue to talk about it here and we'll have a title and all that stuff so you know exactly what to be looking for. So, that being said, welcome to Into the Paranormal, everyone. Um, so, let's jump into some news stories. We'll go ahead and get into our Fire in the Sky one.
Yeah.
Um,
To be fair, real quick, I
mhm.
do consider myself one of the ladies of Kappa. So just
So, you might hear Seth up there. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be what we're working on is going to be, it's going to feature the ladies of Kappa, but that doesn't mean that, periodically, one of us might chime in or guest appear or something like that. But, but yeah. So, what is going on over the skies of the UK, ladies and gentlemen? A glowing spiral appears in the night sky as Met Office reveals likely cause. The cloud-like spiral was spotted in the night sky across the UK and Ireland on Monday evening. So I'll try to put a picture of it up if I remember to do that in editing. So, did you see a picture of it?
I did.
Yeah, it looked really cool.
Oh,
But
it was so cool.
yeah. So this comes from sky.com, from Sky News. I'll go ahead and read their article, and then we'll discuss. So this large glowing spiral was spotted in the night sky across the UK and Ireland on Monday evening. Stargazers from as far north as Denmark and as far south as Milan in Italy noted the cloud-like spiral was visible for several minutes before fading. The Met Office explained in a post on X that the phenomenon was likely caused by frozen exhaust smoke from Elon Musk's SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. The rocket's frozen exhaust plume appears to be spinning in the atmosphere and reflecting the sunlight, causing it to appear as a spiral in the sky, the Met Office said. These spirals form when ejected rocket fuel from the fast spinning upper stages of the Falcon 9 gets frozen in space instantly because of the altitude. The frozen swirls then reflect sunlight back towards Earth, which makes them visible in the night sky. Even if it has a logical explanation, a scientific explanation,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's cool. I think it's
It's
worth
super
talking
cool.
about. You know,
Absolutely. Here, I can. No, go ahead. Keep talking.
I was gonna say, like, I love it when even though it has a logical explanation, well, because it has a logical explanation, I love it when stuff like that is seen and gets talked about. You know, the what if scenarios come out, and
Hmm.
then it has a scientific backing, an explanation behind it. Not everything gets thrown as it's paranormal, it's aliens, it's that, this, that, the third.
Hmm.
But it's cool nonetheless, you know?
Yeah, and we see this in Florida all the time.
Hmm.
You know, because we it's a rocket launch all the time. So if the atmosphere is in a certain way, if we have dry air, it's going to look different than if we have humidity in the air. All these things factor in, and it also depends on the time of day. You know, if it's just sunset or just after sunset where the sun's going to be hitting it in a certain way, you get this what we call that jellyfish effect off the
Hmm.
back of stuff like that. Does this
Yep.
work if I do this and
Are you trying to
disable share?
screen
Yeah, can
share?
I share? Yeah.
I think I have to
No,
give
I
you
guess I can't.
permissions.
Yeah, I was just going to show the picture of it.
Um,
There's what it looked like, which is insanely cool.
yeah. I mean, imagine like you just walk outside, you know, you're just going on a stroll through the whatevers, and you look up and you see that just spinning about in the sky.
Yeah,
You know, of course, you're
that's
gonna be
very
thinking
cool looking.
it's extraterrestrials and stuff,
Or
of
like
vortex
a
or
vortex of some sort. Yeah, it's just cool, man. I love stuff like that.
yeah. So moving on. Uh, so the and you know, lighter news, it is now 89 seconds to midnight according to the Doomsday Clock. Uh,
Oh, we're all fucked.
in in setting the clock 1 second closer to midnight, the Science and Security Board sends a stark signal because the world is already perilously close to the precipice. A move of even a single second should be taken as an indication of extreme danger and an unmistakable warning that every second of delay in reversing course increases the probability of global disaster, ladies and gentlemen. So, um, I, you know, I had, I didn't honestly hear much about the Doomsday Clock. I mean, I've heard of it, but I didn't really know what that was. So, in case any of our listeners, are in the same position, I'll read a little bit of facts here. The bulletin has reset the minute hand on the Doomsday Clock 26 times since its debut in 1947. Most recently in 2025, when we moved it from 90 seconds to midnight to 89 seconds to midnight. Every time it is reset, we're flooded with questions about the internationally recognized symbol. Here are answers to some of the most frequent queries. What is the Doomsday Clock? Which is a question that I had. The Doomsday Clock is a design that warns the public about how close we are to destroying our world with dangerous technologies of our own making. It is a metaphor, a reminder of the perils we must address if we are to survive on the planet. When the Doomsday Clock was created in 1947, the greatest danger to humanity came from nuclear weapons, in particular from the prospect that the United States and the Soviet Union were headed for a nuclear arms race. The bulletin considered possible catastrophic disruptions from climate change in its hand-setting deliberations for the first time in 2007. Who decides what time it is? In early days, bulletin editor Eugene Rabinowitz decided whether the hand should be moved. A scientist himself, fluent in Russian, and a leader in the international disarmament movement, he was in constant conversation with scientists and experts within and outside governments in many parts of the world. Based on these discussions, he decided where the clock hands should be set and explained his thinking in the bulletin's pages. Um, when Rabinowitz died in 1973, the Bulletin's board handled the responsibility. In 2008, the Science and Security Board was formally separated from the governing board and entrusted with the responsibility. Since that time, the Science and Security Board has met twice a year to discuss world events and reset the clock as necessary. The board is made up of scientists and other experts with deep knowledge of nuclear technology and climate science, who often provide expert advice to governments and international agencies. They consult widely with their colleagues across a range of disciplines and also seek the views of the Bulletin's board of sponsors, which includes nine Nobel laureates. So I guess it's, not necessarily meaning that, we're about to, well, I guess it does mean that we're about to meet global catastrophe, but not necessarily that it's imminent, if that makes sense.
Or
Mhm.
super soon,
Right. It
or
just means that we're just like 1 inch closer
yeah,
to screwing
right.
ourselves.
Yep. So in the famous words of Maynard James Keenan from Tool, learn to swim,
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Yep.
uh,
So initially I saw that and I
it's
was like,
interesting.
oh boy, you
Well,
know, that doesn't sound good.
no, it never sounds good, and I think a lot of times they mean for it not to,
Yeah. I
right?
mean, with a name like the
Yeah,
Doomsday Clock.
right. And even like, when it comes to climatology, let's for a small second discuss that real quick, because I think a lot of people don't know what climatology is, and these climatologists, when they put up red flags, it's actually a serious thing, and people just don't understand it. Whereas, um, so meteorology is the study of our atmosphere on a daily basis, day to day, right?
Hmm.
Climatology looks at our atmosphere 30 years ago, every single day since we started climatology. So, I don't remember the year we started doing that, but they're looking at 30 years ago. And tomorrow, they'll be looking at 30 years ago from tomorrow, and
Hmm.
30 years ago from the next, and 30 years ago from the next. So when they see these dramatic changes that are happening, they have to put up red flags and go, hey, something's wrong. You know, it's not bullshit like not everybody, but like certain people think like it's, oh, you know, it's BS. It's not. It's science. It, they're looking at the statistics every single day. That's their job, you know.
And so
And
with
yeah,
it,
the climate does change. It's not going to not change.
right,
The Earth's been
because the world
changing since,
changes.
yeah, the Earth's been changing since before we were here.
Yeah.
So why would we expect it to not change while we're here? You know,
Right.
it's very simple in my head, but
Yeah. And I
yeah.
think like sites like the Doomsday Clock kind of serve as a wake up call. And it's kind of like when they move that hand, it's kind of like, hey, something needs to change, or we're going to go down a road that we can't pedal back from.
Yeah, exactly.
Regardless if
But
it's,
we,
climate or if it's like nuclear disaster, like the article said, something
yep,
of our making.
yep,
So I
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
Um
Um, I for for the listeners and me on this podcast, I almost want to start a drinking game where you take it. Everybody would be drunk way too quick. You take a shot every time Kevin stutters on a word or mispronounces somebody's name.
Hey, I've been
It would,
doing good today.
yeah, you have. No, you've been doing great today. You're great today. No, no, no. Yeah, it's just
So,
like I think about that, and I'm like, want to get drunk real quick in like an hour?
so that I've been doing
Sorry, I'm
good.
poking fun at you, man. I'm
It's
just,
all good. It's all good.
you know,
I was gonna
uh,
say I was gonna poke fun at myself because I mean I've been doing good today, but we're gonna go
mhm.
to Egypt now. So That's probably about to change.
Oh, we're skipping. We're skipping to Egypt.
Yeah, we're skipping over
That
to Egypt now.
yeah, that's a
So
throwback from last time.
we're going underground, where experts clash over hidden city beneath Egypt's pyramids. All right, a heated debate has erupted, and I believe, Seth, you said you haven't heard about this, correct?
I don't believe I have.
So this
No.
is insane. This is crazy.
So
All right,
I'm
so
ready. I'm ready.
a heated debate has erupted amongst Egyptologists after researchers claim to have found an underground city beneath the pyramids of Giza. Is the is the discovery based on radar images groundbreaking or exaggerated? Italian research is led by Professor Corrado Malanga from the University of Pisa say they've uncovered a vast underground network beneath the Egyptian pyramids. They claim the radar images show massive vertical shafts, spiral staircases, channeling or channels resembling pipelines for a water system, and a hidden world of structures more than 2,000 feet beneath the surface. They even suggest that the legendary Hall of Records, a purported library tied to ancient Egyptian lore, could lie within its underground complex. When we magnify the images in the future, we will reveal that beneath it lies what can only be described as a true underground city, the team said at a press conference. But not all experts are convinced. Radar expert Professor Lawrence Conyers from the University of Denver called the claims a huge exaggeration, stating that the technology used radar pulses from a satellite, similar to how sonar radar is used to map the ocean, couldn't penetrate that deep into the Earth. Speaking to the Daily Mail, he cast doubt on the idea of an underground city, but acknowledged that smaller structures may be found beneath the pyramids, underscoring how the Mayans and other peoples in ancient Mesoamerica often
Drink.
often built pyramids on top of the entrances to caves or caverns that had ceremonial significance to them. In a similar vein, Egyptian archaeologist Dr. Zahi Hawass told the National that the researchers were completely wrong and argued that their so-called discovery lacks any scientific basis. The work by Professor Malanga and fellow researchers Filippo Biondi and Armando May was discussed during a briefing in Italy last week, but the scientists' findings are yet to be published in a peer-reviewed journal. The team concentrated on the Khafre Pyramid, one of the three pyramids in Giza, or in the Giza complex, alongside the Khufu and Menkaure pyramids. These iconic structures are believed to have been built around 4,500 years ago and are located on the west bank of the Nile in the northern Egypt. Uh, so yeah,
Hmm.
apparently with like radar and satellite they have found these like cylinder shafts with spiral staircases that lead down into um basically like huge rooms, and it looks like like an underground city, like for lack of a better term.
Hmm.
um
I mean,
and it's okay, so here's I believe this is the New York Post. I'm going to read a little bit more of it here. The newly discovered structures are connected to pathways that lead below the surface and are believed to expose hidden rooms and wells under the 4,500-year-old wonder of the world. And I even read somewhere that they are even thinking that the pyramids and I believe the Sphinx are much older than we believe. So electromagnetic signals were turned into phononic data that unveiled larger infrastructure leading down thousands of feet underground. The eight large vertical structures, theorized to be wells or shafts, are thought to extend over 6,500 feet across and 2,000 feet below ground. Researchers didn't reveal the use of the larger structures that stretch below ground zero, but planned for further analysis and possible excavation to verify the artifact Wow, artificial nature of the structures. I don't know
Right.
why that looked like something else. The project used two satellites 420 miles up in space to send down radar signals that photographed the pyramids. Data were compiled into images to create a rough copy of what is believed to be below the pyramids, including the eight wells. The hollowed structure consists of spiral pathways leading down farther underground. Um, I mean, it's
Well,
insane. Um,
I mean, I don't think it's far fetched
no, and
at all.
and I was watching because I've been watching like documentaries on it and like reports on it now since all this came about. This has
Mhm.
only been, I think about a week now that I started seeing like the shafts and stuff that were found. Um, and they were
Whoa.
basically what the and it was akin to Tesla, Nikola Tesla.
Mhm.
And basically, the theory of the pyramids were used to be a form of energy, like transmitters, and
Mhm.
they it was basically like its own energy producing system. And then I started going down a rabbit hole, and we were watching how like a constellation perfectly aligns with the pyramids. If you look down X amount of thousands of years ago, ley lines run through them,
Sure.
and there's so much. I mean, ancient Egypt is already super cool. But
Yep.
then when you start looking at how this lines up with this and this correlates with that and this and that, and it's these people that lived so many years ago in that part of the world were so insanely brilliant. I mean, then there's the what if scenarios.
Y-
Did they have some sort of extraterrestrial help in designing this, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Man, it goes back and forth, and there's theory after theory after theory after theory.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So, like, some could say they were just really in touch with
The Earth and
with
stuff.
the Earth and their surroundings, including the stars and everything. And
Hmm.
they were, and there's the extraterrestrial aspect of, I mean, it's hard to it's hard to say they weren't visited, right? When you
Hmm.
have hieroglyphics of like flying things
Yeah.
where they didn't exist. So there, it's so much. It's just so much from then. But what you're talking about though, like, doesn't surprise me. I mean, it. You know how much sand has been just pushed over
Hmm.
so much of that stuff. So to think and every time they're doing their thing and going down, and uh, finding new things, they're still going down.
Yeah,
So they haven't gotten that far since we've
right.
been discovering things. I mean, it takes a long time to excavate something,
Yeah.
especially something of that magnitude.
And I'm sure that there's
So,
so many laws and regulations in Egypt that permit or
mhm,
prevents any sort of excavation
mhm,
and whatnot, So it's not like they can just go in there and just, dig up everything.
yeah,
It's a long progress, and like you said, like if there is something, I'm sure there's something under the pyramids, but it's gonna take time to get there because they have to pass these permits and they have to go through these different channels and stuff.
yeah,
But I mean,
and
it's not far-fetched that what they're saying is accurate, and like what they saw with these radar, you
yeah,
know.
and GPR is pretty freaking
Mhm.
accurate.
Yeah,
So for somebody to be like, no, GPR, like, that's not working, you're like, I don't know, dude. Is it not? Because it's like 90% accurate
Yeah,
on, if not more,
right.
on
I
what it's
mean,
seeing. So I
and
don't know, man.
staying in that part of the world, this just crossed my mind too. When I said something about the Sphinx, we were watching something, Tracy and I were watching something, and they were talking about the Sphinx. And apparently the Sphinx is tens of thousands years older than what they think it is. And apparently that part of Egypt, when they built it, was underwater because the erosion around the Sphinx. Some scientists are claiming that that is water erosion. Like, yeah, thousands and thousands of years of rain would be, water erosion as well, but they were basically
Well,
saying that it was flooded. Like you could see where basically like the water level was and caused that sort of erosion.
yeah. So they're what? They're referring to the Great Flood at that point or
Well, I
whatever.
don't, they didn't mention that, but they were just basically saying that what they understand of Egypt during that time period might not be accurate. It might not be like it could just shine a whole new light because we
Yeah.
know that, Egypt at some point was, it wasn't a desert. It was grassland and stuff like that or whatever. I
Mhm.
mean, just with the moving of the continents and, climate
Yeah.
change again, I mean, these
Yeah.
areas that used to be, great plains and rivers and oceans are now deserts.
Yeah. It's Mother Earth. She'll do her thing. Clay and I talk about this all the time. She'll do her thing. Like whether we're here or not,
Hmm.
she's gonna do her thing to survive, and that's just, you look back at things like like they talk about the Great Flood and all this stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like and Florida used to be underwater. Do I
Yep.
think it's not going to be underwater again? No,
Right.
of course it will be. I
Yep.
will I be here to see it? Maybe, maybe not.
Right.
Probably not. But it's she's just going to do her thing,
Yep.
like whether we're here or not. So, like, I don't know. People really need to understand that. Like, we're not. She's not our toy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
we
we're guests here, literally.
e- exactly. She's gonna
Yep.
do whatever she has to do.
Yep.
If it's shaking off the fleas, she'll do it.
Yep. Yep.
You know.
But yeah, I feel like it wasn't California underwater at one point too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 'cause that's why.
Oh, there's plenty of places.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like that's why there's no dinosaur bones in Florida. You're not gonna find dinosaur bones in Florida. Um,
No,
that's it was
but
underwater.
you
You will find the plesiosaur teeth and megalodon teeth and stuff. That's
maybe.
why it's
Yep.
a shark. Well, maybe
Yep.
not. I don't know, but that's why it's a shark teeth capital of the world because it was literally an ocean at one point. And
We're the shark bite capital of the world. Yeah.
well, yeah, yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean,
But well,
that's
probably the shark teeth capital of the world too.
yeah. I think there's like a beach in Florida where you can just. I mean, there's several in all parts of the world, but in Florida, there's like a beach where they have that you find like the most shark teeth or something like that, I believe.
Hmm.
But to
Yeah.
the
You,
point,
you can
yeah,
find them in the
yeah,
you can
like
find them in the springs,
yeah,
super inland,
hmm.
like all kinds of yeah.
Well, I mean, and nowadays in Florida, you can find sharks in the Everglades. I mean, because I believe it's the only place in the world
Absolutely.
where in the Everglades you can be kayaking or I wouldn't swim around, but on a boat and you can just somewhere near the water you can see crocodiles, alligators, and sharks in the same water system. But
And what are they called?
pythons,
Yeah, yep. And there's the other
caiman,
the lizard caimans,
yeah,
all in the same air. Bull sharks is what
mm-hmm,
they're referring
mm-hmm,
to, and
yeah,
they're everywhere. They're in every river, every. ocean, every
Yep.
what a fantastic. This is the shark I'm most afraid of, but it's a fantastic being. Like how they can do that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of
Especially the
statistics to
bull
that.
shark because they can live in, they don't have to have salt water. It's not
They
ideal
don't.
for them, but they don't have to have salt water. It's crazy.
Yeah, they actually have pore like they keep salt pockets in their
Hmm.
pores so that they can do that. So when the fresh water goes in, it's filtering through salt,
Yep.
and that's how they can survive in it. And it's insane.
And that's just
It's so
another example how like Mother Nature and Earth will just adapt these animals and adapt
yes.
the world to sustain itself, you know?
Yep.
It's crazy when,
It's
I mean, I didn't mean for it to turn into like a nature episode, but it's
well,
fascinating,
it
it's crazy.
it
Like,
really is. We talk about this a lot, where it's people say survival of the fittest. It's not survival of the fittest. It's survival of the adaptable.
yeah.
That's
And that's
that's the key.
why humans have adapt or survived for so long because humans can adapt. And it's never good to become complacent and content, regardless of what you're in. I mean, it could go, you could apply that to work, once you get like
Hmm.
content and complacent, it's time to find something to challenge yourself and stuff like that,
Hmm.
and I'm not trying to, disclaimer, tell everybody to quit their job if they feel like that, but you know
Don't do that.
yeah, yeah, I'm
Don't
like,
listen to
well,
Kevin.
Kevin on Into the Paranormal said, I'm too good at this job and I get bored easily, I quit. Don't do
Oh, 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 really? Okay, I'm done.
that.
I quit. Later.
But so,
I'm kidding. I'm still here.
but yeah, I mean that I think those are all like really good topics. A lot of good conversation pieces. Um, so yeah,
Gotcha.
that about does it, ladies and gentlemen, I believe. So all that being said, you can find me at everything at Kappa Paranormal. Just Google Kappa Paranormal. I am there. We are there. Yet again, I don't want you to forget. Go ahead and on all of your podcast streaming services, follow Kappa Paranormal. That is, the umbrella in which Into the Paranormal resides in. We have a new project coming very soon. Make sure you follow us and stay up to date on that, and we will tell you more as the weeks go on. Um, but keep your eyes to the sky. And if you have any paranormal stories, feel free to let us know. We will read them on the show. Info@kapaparanormal.com. Follow and like the Facebook page. Follow, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff here. And as always, I have been Kevin Leonard. That has been Seth Converse. And this has been In to the Paranormal.